Antarctica is a frozen nightmare, where the cold is a palpable menace and the winds carry the weight of isolation.
This is a bird. 65, maybe 70 miles an hour.
Beneath its icy surface, unseen dangers lurk, making survival a grim, constant battle against a merciless, otherworldly expanse. This is why you should never be alone in Antarctica. Number 15. Crevasses. Beneath the thick layers of snow and ice in Antarctica lies a hidden peril: crevasses. These deep, yawning cracks in the glaciers can stretch for hundreds of feet, forming a treacherous landscape that seems deceptively inviting. When the glacier shifts, it fractures, creating fissures that can be narrow or wide enough to swallow an unsuspecting person whole. Imagine stepping onto the surface of a vast white desert, where every layer of snow conceals the possibility of a deadly fall. With each footstep, the ice creaks ominously, hinting at the chaos beneath. A misstep could lead you plunging into a dark abyss, where icy walls close in around you, trapping you in a frozen tomb. The frigid air inside a crevasse is stifling, and the relentless cold seeps into your bones, leaving you gasping for warmth and breath. Many crevasses are hidden beneath a thin layer of snow, giving the illusion of solid ground. One moment you're walking confidently, the next, the ground gives way beneath your feet, and you are engulfed by darkness. Panic sets in as you realize the gravity of your situation. Struggling to climb out, the icy walls become slick and unforgiving, making every effort to escape feel futile. These fractures can also be incredibly deceptive in appearance, sometimes covered by a delicate crust of snow that hides their true depth. The danger lurks silently, ready to strike when least expected. If you find yourself alone, the odds are stacked against you. The isolation of Antarctica amplifies the fear. No one to hear your cries for help, no one to pull you from the icy grasp of the crevasse. In this unforgiving land, every step must be taken with caution. Number 14. Exposure to ultraviolet radiation. When you're in Antarctica, you're exposed to more than just cold winds and icy landscapes. The thinning of the ozone layer above the continent has left it vulnerable to higher levels of ultraviolet radiation. This increased exposure is particularly dangerous for anyone without adequate protection, as UV radiation can lead to painful sunburns and a higher risk of skin cancer. In fact, during the height of the ozone hole season, UV levels in Antarctica can be up to 85% higher than they were before the ozone depletion. But it's not just about sunburns. The high levels of UV radiation in Antarctica can also affect your eyes, causing conditions like snow blindness, where the cornea becomes inflamed from excessive UV exposure. Without proper gear, such as UV-blocking sunglasses or protective clothing, you risk long-term damage. This threat is most significant between late November and early December, when the UV index peaks, despite the ozone layer's recovery in early spring. During this period, UV radiation levels can reach extreme heights, especially near the Antarctic peninsula. The lower angle of the sun during winter may reduce UV exposure, but in the summer months, the increased solar elevation combined with the ongoing effects of the ozone hole creates hazardous conditions. The changes in wind patterns, known as the southern annular mode, further complicate the situation. Stronger westerly winds push warm air toward the Antarctic peninsula, which can lead to cloud cover disruptions and higher surface temperatures. This can alter the UV exposure in unpredictable ways, making it even harder to judge when you're at risk. All these factors combined mean that in Antarctica, the sun is not your friend. If you're venturing there, it's crucial to equip yourself with the right protective gear and never underestimate the intensity of the sun's rays, even in one of the coldest places on Earth. Number 13. Avalanches. In the stark, icy expanse of Antarctica, an avalanche can transform a serene landscape into a scene of chaos and destruction in mere moments. These natural phenomena, characterized by a rapid descent of snow, ice, and rock, are not just breathtaking but also immensely dangerous. An avalanche occurs when a massive, unstable layer of snow breaks free from a slope, cascading down at incredible speeds. Imagine a river of white roaring down a mountainside, a cloud of icy particles swirling and rising into the frigid air, a stunning yet terrifying sight. Avalanches can reach speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour, making them faster than the most skilled skier. When an avalanche is triggered, the snow rapidly accumulates, collecting more snow and ice as it thunders downhill. A fully developed avalanche can weigh up to 1 million tons, a force capable of flattening anything in its path. The immense weight and speed create powerful winds that can uproot trees, destroy buildings, and cause unimaginable devastation. In Antarctica, where the snowpack can build several meters thick during winter, the risk of avalanches increases. The snowpack consists of layers that vary in density and texture, and these layers can form weak bonds. Melting and refreezing create slick ice layers, allowing new snowfall to slide off easily. During spring thaws, as melted snow seeps through the layers, the situation becomes even more precarious. A slight disturbance, whether from human activity or natural shifts, can send these layers tumbling down. There are two primary types of snow avalanches: sloughs and slabs. Slough avalanches occur when the weak layer sits atop a stable snowpack. These small powdery slides are less dangerous. In contrast, slab avalanches are much more formidable. When a weak layer lies beneath thicker layers of compressed snow, a disturbance can break that weak layer free, sending all the overlying snow crashing down as a massive block. As it tumbles, the slab shatters into smaller blocks, creating a chaotic cloud of snow that envelops everything in its path. Caught in an avalanche, your survival depends on quick thinking. Skiers find it helpful to navigate downhill, veering sideways to escape the slide's path, while snowmobilers must accelerate away from danger. If escape isn't possible, finding something solid to cling to, like a tree, can be crucial. Should you become buried, try to create a pocket of air in front of your face and raise a hand above the surface. Unfortunately, once an avalanche settles, it hardens like concrete, making movement nearly impossible. Antarctic avalanches are a powerful reminder of nature's raw strength, and being alone in Antarctica during such an event can be fatal. Number 12. Extreme cold. Antarctica stands as one of the harshest environments on Earth, renowned for its extreme cold that can plunge well below minus 60 degrees Celsius, or minus 76 degrees Fahrenheit. This unforgiving climate isn't just a number. It's a deadly reality for anyone who finds themselves unprepared in this icy expanse. Prolonged exposure to such frigid temperatures can lead to severe frostbite, hypothermia, or even death. For adventurers, researchers, or the rare traveler, understanding the risks of Antarctica's cold is paramount. The continent, covering about 14 million square kilometers, is home to 90% of the world's ice and 70% of its fresh water. Its record-setting temperatures include a chilling minus 89.2 degrees Celsius recorded at Vostok Station in 1983, a stark reminder of nature's power. The combination of high latitude, altitude, and long polar nights creates conditions where the mercury rarely rises. Persistent katabatic winds, which descend from the icy interior, can worsen the cold, reaching speeds over 200 kilometers per hour, making the air feel even colder and increasing the risk of frostbite. In the winter of 2023, researchers at the Antarctic Meteorological Research and Data Center noted record-breaking cold temperatures across a wide region. The Automatic Weather Stations network documented these extremes, including a startling minus 79.4 degrees Celsius at Kunlun Station, which was a staggering 5 degrees Celsius below the monthly average. Such occurrences underline the unpredictability and severity of the Antarctic climate. The role of Antarctica extends beyond just its extreme cold. It serves as a critical area for scientific research. Its ice sheets and glaciers are vital for regulating global sea levels, and studies indicate that they are melting at an alarming rate. This has serious implications for coastal regions worldwide. The continent's isolation has also led to the preservation of unique ecosystems, making it an invaluable natural laboratory for studying climate change, glaciology, and marine biology. The Antarctic Treaty System facilitates international cooperation in the region, promoting peaceful scientific collaboration while safeguarding its environment. However, the future of Antarctica is intricately tied to global climate dynamics. Anyone who ventures into this icy wilderness must be acutely aware of the dangers posed by the extreme cold and take every precaution necessary to survive in a land where being alone can quickly turn fatal. Number 11. Blizzards. Blizzards in Antarctica are no ordinary snowstorms. They're brutal forces of nature that can turn the landscape into a deadly trap. With winds that can reach up to 160 kilometers per hour, these blizzards are powerful enough to disorient even the most experienced explorers. The swirling snow creates whiteout conditions, where everything blends into a featureless blur, and visibility drops to almost nothing. It becomes impossible to tell up from down, and what seems like a short journey can turn into a dangerous battle against the elements. The biting winds and freezing temperatures can plummet well below -12 degrees Celsius, pushing your body into hypothermia territory in a matter of minutes if you're exposed. Even worse, ground blizzards, where the snow is whipped up from the surface instead of falling from the sky, can take you by surprise, burying tracks and landmarks under a blanket of wind-blown snow. This makes finding shelter or a safe path nearly impossible. Traveling alone in these conditions is a perilous gamble. Disorientation, frostbite, and hypothermia can set in quickly, making it difficult to survive without help. In Antarctica, where rescue is often hours or days away, being caught in a blizzard alone can easily become a fatal mistake. Number 10. Isolation and extreme remoteness. Isolation and extreme remoteness define life in Antarctica. Being in one of the most desolate places on Earth means that help, if needed, is often thousands of kilometers away. With no permanent inhabitants and only a few research stations scattered across the continent, the nearest assistance could be days or even weeks from reaching you. This isolation can turn even a small emergency into a life-threatening situation. The effects of this remoteness aren't just physical. The psychological toll of prolonged isolation is immense. Researchers who spend months in Antarctica describe a unique phenomenon called winter-over syndrome, where the harsh conditions of the polar night, months of darkness and frigid temperatures, lead to feelings of fatigue, headaches, and memory issues. As isolation deepens, anxiety, depression, and even anger can emerge, sometimes causing tension with colleagues or loved ones back home. Number 9. Severe wind chill. In Antarctica, the beauty of the icy landscape masks a perilous reality: the severe wind chill that can transform a frigid day into a deadly encounter. The continent's notorious winds combine with bone-chilling temperatures to create an environment that feels far colder than the thermometer suggests. For instance, on a day when the temperature hovers around -degrees Fahrenheit, a wind gusting at just 30 miles per hour can push the wind chill factor down to a staggering -degrees Fahrenheit. This drastic drop isn't just an uncomfortable inconvenience, it's a significant threat to anyone who finds themselves alone. When faced with such extreme conditions, the risk of frostbite skyrockets. Exposed skin can freeze in minutes, leading to irreversible damage, and, in severe cases, the loss of fingers or toes. Hypothermia also looms large. In these harsh winds, the body loses heat rapidly, making it nearly impossible to maintain a safe core temperature. Symptoms like confusion, shivering, and fatigue can set in quickly, clouding judgment and impairing the ability to respond effectively to the situation. The chilling winds can strip away the layers of warmth and safety that we rely on, making survival an uphill battle. Imagine navigating a snow-covered landscape, your vision impaired by swirling snow, with every step challenging your resolve. In such a scenario, the consequences of isolation become clear. Without a partner to share the burden, even a minor mishap can escalate into a life-threatening emergency. Number 8. Dangerous ice formations. Antarctica may look like an endless frozen wonderland, but its ice formations hold dangerous surprises. Beneath the beauty of shimmering glaciers and vast ice fields lie hidden hazards that can turn a peaceful trek into a perilous adventure. One of the greatest threats comes from the sharp ice ridges known as sastrugi. These jagged, wind-sculpted formations can rise several feet high, creating obstacles that are not only difficult to navigate, but can cause serious injury if you fall or misstep. Crossing sastrugi-covered terrain without caution could leave you stranded or hurt, far from any help. Then there's the unpredictable nature of ice fields, which often conceal hidden crevasses. These deep, narrow cracks in the ice may be covered by thin snow bridges, making them nearly invisible to the human eye. One wrong step could send you plummeting into a crevasse, some of which are hundreds of feet deep. Even in the summer months, when Antarctica seems more stable, these cracks can widen suddenly, swallowing explorers and their equipment without warning. Slush fields, though seemingly less menacing, pose their own risks. These areas are patches of melting ice, where footing becomes treacherous and gear can easily get bogged down. Walking through slush might appear safe at first, but the combination of slick ice beneath and unpredictable water levels can lead to falls or frostbite if you're not prepared. Antarctica's ice formations demand extreme respect and caution, whether it's navigating through sastrugi, avoiding hidden crevasses, or battling slush fields. Every step in this frozen landscape must be taken with care. When alone, the risks multiply. This is a place where isolation can quickly turn deadly, and that's why no one should ever venture here solo. Number 7. Polar night. Unlike regions near the equator, where day and night maintain a more consistent balance, Antarctica's position near the South Pole causes extreme variations in daylight, depending on the season. During the summer, continuous sunlight known as the midnight sun makes it possible to conduct scientific research around the clock. However, the austere winter, spanning from June to August, brings complete darkness for 24 hours a day, known as the polar night. Imagine enduring months without seeing a single ray of sunlight. For those stationed at Antarctic research bases or caught in isolated situations, the psychological toll of endless nights can be immense. Without natural light, the body's internal clock becomes disrupted, making it difficult to maintain regular sleep patterns. This disorientation, combined with the already harsh conditions of extreme cold and isolation, can lead to feelings of depression, anxiety, and confusion, sometimes referred to as winter over syndrome. Life in this period becomes a test of mental fortitude. With no natural indicators to distinguish day from night, time feels distorted, and tasks that would be simple in other environments become monumental challenges. Research teams rely heavily on artificial lighting and structured routines to combat the creeping effects of this continuous darkness. Specialized equipment, like high-intensity lamps, is essential to simulate daylight and help regulate sleep and alertness. For those who venture alone into this cold abyss, the polar night becomes even more dangerous. Navigation becomes nearly impossible without the sun, and the risk of becoming lost in the endless white landscape increases. Survival during these months requires not just physical preparation, but also the ability to maintain a stable mental state in a world dominated by darkness. This unique experience, while fascinating, reveals the profound impact prolonged nights can have on both humans and wildlife in Antarctica. Number 6. Mount Erebus. In the heart of Antarctica lies Mount Erebus, a dormant yet formidable giant, cloaked in ice and mystery. Standing at a staggering 3,800 meters, it is not just the southernmost active volcano on Earth. It is a lurking beast, ready to unleash its fury at any moment. Picture a landscape that is both hauntingly beautiful and chillingly perilous. Snowstorms rage across the frozen expanse, transforming the terrain into an unforgiving maze of whiteout conditions where one misstep can lead to a disastrous fall. Erebus is notorious for its unpredictable nature. While it might seem serene from a distance, the volcano's inner workings reveal a menacing heartbeat. At its core lies a bubbling lava lake, a rare sight in the world, where molten rock churns like the belly of a beast. Each rise of the lava sends plumes of gas hissing into the frigid air, creating a volatile mix of danger and awe. The ground trembles beneath you, and the air vibrates with the tension of impending eruptions. Every puff of gas is a reminder that this volcano is alive, and it has a temper. The danger intensifies with Erebus's frequent small eruptions. These eruptions can happen without warning, launching blobs of molten rock high into the sky. Imagine standing on the edge of the crater, where the heat from below feels both inviting and terrifying. One moment you're captivated by the sight of the lava lake. The next, a rock the size of a small car is plummeting toward you, sent skyward by an unseen explosion. The reality is that on Erebus, the sky can become a weapon, raining fiery projectiles that can crush anything in their path. In the bitter winter, the already treacherous conditions become even more hostile. Temperatures plunge to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and the icy winds bite through layers of clothing, leaving you exposed and vulnerable. The gas that escapes from Erebus freezes upon contact with the cold air, forming perilous fumarolic ice towers. But beneath these beautiful icy structures lurk vast networks of ice caves. These caves are not only labyrinthine, they can also collapse without warning, sending anyone inside tumbling into darkness. The risks are compounded by the sheer isolation of Antarctica. The remote location of Mount Erebus means that any accident, be it a slip on the ice or an unexpected eruption, could leave you stranded, miles away from any form of rescue. Imagine being alone, disoriented in a blizzard, with the ground rumbling beneath you, knowing that help could be hours or even days away. The relentless cold, the threat of erupting lava, and the precarious ice formations all conspire to create a perfect storm of danger. Number 5. Altitude sickness. Altitude sickness is a serious concern when venturing to Antarctica, especially on the polar plateau or the South Pole, where high altitudes and low oxygen levels can trigger a range of dangerous conditions. Despite the coastal areas being at sea level, the Antarctic interior rises dramatically, subjecting travelers to an abrupt change in altitude. This sudden shift can overwhelm the body, which requires time to acclimate to the reduced oxygen. Without proper preparation, travelers may find themselves battling altitude-related illnesses that can escalate quickly in such an isolated and extreme environment. One of the most common altitude-related illnesses is acute mountain sickness, AMS. It usually begins with symptoms like headaches, nausea, and dizziness, making even the simplest tasks feel exhausting. AMS is worsened by rapid ascents and excessive physical exertion during the early stages of acclimatization. Visitors often underestimate how quickly symptoms can develop, and in Antarctica, there's little room for error. Preventing AMS requires a slow, gradual ascent, giving the body time to adjust. If symptoms are ignored or the ascent continues, the situation can escalate into more severe conditions, such as high-altitude cerebral edema, HACE, or high-altitude pulmonary edema, HAPE. HACE, a more severe and life-threatening condition, affects the brain, causing confusion, hallucinations, and difficulty with coordination. It's not just discomfort, it's dangerous. HAPE, on the other hand, targets the lungs, leading to shortness of breath, chest tightness, and fatigue. The freezing cold of Antarctica adds another layer of complexity, as physical exertion in these harsh conditions can make HAPE even more likely. These conditions require immediate attention, including a rapid descent to lower altitudes. Left untreated, they can be fatal. Altitude sickness in Antarctica isn't just theoretical. Historical accounts from early explorers such as Robert Scott, Roald Amundsen, and Ernest Shackleton highlight the very real impact of high altitude on their teams. Amundsen's men reported exhaustion and sleepless nights due to the lack of oxygen, while Shackleton's crew experienced severe headaches and nosebleeds. More recently, Buzz Aldrin, the famed astronaut, had to be medically evacuated from the South Pole due to altitude sickness during an adventure tour in 2016. His evacuation was a stark reminder that even the most experienced explorers are not immune to Antarctica's harsh environment. Understanding the risks of altitude sickness in Antarctica is critical, particularly as the continent becomes more accessible to tourists. Slow ascents, monitoring for early symptoms, and consulting with medical professionals are essential steps in preventing potentially fatal conditions. And in such a remote, unforgiving place, it's yet another reason why no one should venture alone. Number 4. Melting ice. The Antarctic ice sheet, which holds 90% of the world's ice, has evolved over millennia. The east and west Antarctic ice sheets stretch over the land, while floating ice shelves form where the ice extends over the sea. These shelves act as a buffer, stabilizing the ice sheet behind them. However, the West Antarctic ice sheet is particularly vulnerable, with most of it lying below sea level. This makes it susceptible to melting from underneath, where warming ocean waters chip away at the ice, destabilizing the entire structure. This thinning ice makes travel across Antarctica more hazardous. The once stable surfaces that explorers relied upon are now unpredictable and fragile. Unseen cracks and weak points can open up, turning a simple trek into a dangerous expedition. For someone traveling alone, an encounter with unstable ice could be fatal. The weight of a single person could be enough to trigger a collapse, sending them plummeting into icy waters or a hidden crevasse below. At the heart of this issue is a phenomenon called marine ice sheet instability, MSI. This occurs when the grounding line, where the ice sheet begins to float, retreats due to warming waters. As the ice shelf thins, more ice flows from the land into the sea, creating a feedback loop. The more the grounding line retreats, the more unstable the ice becomes. This process accelerates ice loss, making the entire region increasingly treacherous. While MSI may seem like a distant concept, its effects are already being felt. The Antarctic Peninsula, for example, is one of the fastest warming regions on the planet. Ice shelves have begun to disintegrate, and glaciers are retreating at alarming rates. These changes not only make Antarctica's ice less stable for humans, but also contribute to rising sea levels worldwide. Scientists warn that the West Antarctic ice sheet could trigger significant sea level rise if its retreat continues unchecked. In a world where temperatures are projected to rise by 2.8 degrees Celsius by the end of the century, the dangers of melting ice in Antarctica are only growing. For those venturing into this unforgiving environment, the risks posed by unstable ice make solitude an even more perilous option. Being alone in such conditions means having no backup in the event of a sudden collapse or an unexpected crack beneath your feet. In this unpredictable, ever-changing landscape, having a companion could be the difference between life and death. Number 3. Ice caves and ice tunnels. Beneath the frozen, windswept surface of Antarctica lies an alien world. Ice caves and tunnels that snake through glaciers and ice sheets. These formations, as mesmerizing as they are treacherous, are born from the slow, relentless movement of ice, water, and volcanic activity. While they may seem like a magical escape from the icy desert above, the reality is much more dangerous. What looks like a stable pathway or a majestic cavern can turn deadly in an instant. Ice caves and tunnels in Antarctica are highly unstable. Temperatures inside hover around -51 degrees Celsius, causing the ice to shift unpredictably. As you step into these glittering corridors, it's easy to be lulled by the otherworldly blue glow reflecting off the icy walls, the gentle drip of meltwater, and the eerie silence. But beneath the surface, cracks can form, unseen fissures widening, threatening to collapse without warning. Explorers who venture into these caves face constant danger, trapped by the very beauty they sought to witness. At places like McMurdo Station or the South Pole, where tunnels have been carved for practical reasons, moving water, waste, or connecting buildings, station personnel have explored these frozen passageways. Some have even used them to create personal shrines, crafting memorials to Antarctic experiences. One of the strangest artifacts to be found in these tunnels is the body of a white sturgeon enshrined beneath the ice. Abandoned after being gifted by Russian scientists, the fish made its way across the continent, eventually becoming a symbol of the surreal existence at the edge of the world. The tunnels beneath Antarctic stations, while controlled to some extent, are still vulnerable to collapse. The massive weight of the ice above, combined with the dynamic nature of glaciers, means that these caverns can close in, trapping anyone unlucky enough to be inside. Sudden shifts in temperature or pressure could cause the ice walls to buckle, sealing off exits, or leading to fatal accidents. For scientists and adventurers alike, the allure of these ice caves remains strong, but the risks are just as immense. The West Antarctic ice sheet, for example, is a vast, uncharted expanse, hiding an underworld of potential dangers. Boreholes and cameras have only given us a glimpse into this icy labyrinth, but much of it remains unexplored and filled with unknown hazards. If you're thinking of exploring Antarctica's ice caves or tunnels, think again. These magnificent formations, though captivating, are as unpredictable as they are beautiful. Number 2. Limited medical facilities. Antarctic medical care both parallels and differs from typical emergency medical practice in many ways. In this isolated environment, clinicians are responsible not only for standard medical and dental care, but also for tasks like performing lab tests, imaging, and managing public health concerns. They may even be involved in disaster planning and food safety inspections, adding to the complexity of their duties. The patient population is small and diverse, consisting of scientists, researchers, and support staff, all of whom rely on limited facilities and supplies. What makes medical care in Antarctica particularly challenging is the climate-related restrictions on evacuation. Severe weather can prevent timely transport, leaving patients stranded for days with minimal care. The isolation, coupled with the lack of advanced medical equipment, underscores why it's dangerous to be alone in Antarctica. Even minor injuries can quickly escalate without immediate care, making thorough preparation and awareness vital for anyone living or visiting this remote and unforgiving region. Number 1. Navigational challenges. In Antarctica, navigation is far from straightforward. The vast, endless stretches of white ice offer no landmarks or reference points. Imagine trying to find your way in a place where everything looks the same. An endless frozen desert. Without proper equipment or an experienced guide, it's easy to get disoriented. The ice blends seamlessly with the horizon, and in the worst conditions, even the sky looks no different from the ground. Antarctica's harsh weather further complicates navigation. Whiteouts, for example, can occur without warning. During a whiteout, the sky, ground, and surroundings merge into one, eliminating all sense of direction and distance. Without GPS or other navigation tools, you could wander for hours, if not days. In such conditions, moving forward feels futile, but staying in one place invites danger. With temperatures dropping and winds that cut through even the warmest gear, getting lost becomes a life-threatening situation. Furthermore, the region's magnetic anomalies can interfere with traditional compasses, making them unreliable. Only those skilled in Antarctic navigation, using advanced technology and precise instruments, can hope to maintain their bearings. For anyone else, navigating this treacherous landscape alone can quickly turn into a slow, confusing, and ultimately fatal ordeal. So, with all these dangers lurking in the coldest place on Earth, the real question is, would you ever risk exploring Antarctica alone? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.